Now, let's discuss this. We are now joined via Zoom by Koogan Pillay from the Active Citizens Movement. Koogan, thank you so much for your time. Now, let's first get your reaction to the release of the fourth installment. Now, this installment deals with 8 topics, namely including the state capture at Eskom, the closure of the Gupta brothers' bank accounts, and the Free State housing and asbestos scandals. Your high-level take on this?
We are very encouraged by the report. Suffice to say that in the limited time, we haven't gone through it in sufficient detail, but we are encouraged that we are now close to the end of the process with one final executive report coming from Justice Zondo. I think most important for us as the Active Citizen Movement is the way forward in terms of actions, in terms of fixing up the damage done to the state, done to whistleblowers, of which the ACM have played a crucial role.
Now, the level of state capture, reached levels of disbelief, but also a real spine-chilling showcasing, of the threat for those brave individuals who went out of their way to expose corruption in the public sector, as well as organs of state. You wrote a paper not too long ago about the impact of the lives of whistleblowers. Give us a sense of your analysis.
We've sent this last year in March at the first deadline that was imposed by the Zondo Commission. And it was made under the umbrella of the Active Citizen Movement. The Active Citizen Movement itself made a detailed submission from a host of whistleblowers who have been affected and who are still being affected. And my aspect addendum to the submission was more on the human rights impact. And in this regard, the impact of whistleblowers who have revealed the level of rot in the state apparatus, and many of them have paid the price of losing their jobs, losing their assets, and in some cases losing their lives. Like, as you know, Babita Deokaran last year, more recently an academic from Limpopo University. So they have paid the price, and we've made the submission then. And it's 1 year later, and we've been engaging the relevant authorities to fast-track reforms for whistleblowers in terms of the PDA legislation, but also immediate short and medium-term relief, such as helping with the domestic situation. It's a bit unfortunate because whistleblowers have been praised by both Justice Zondo as well as the President in terms of being true patriots, true champions and defenders of our democracy. And yet they've been bearing the brunt of it, and many of the culprits or the perpetrators are still in their jobs. They're still prancing around with the largesse that they've got or acquired unlawfully. And I think this has been part of our activism and activities aimed at helping government to fast-track reforms to whistleblower legislation.
Now, as you say, the sad reality is that millions of South Africans, are discouraged from reporting corruption, unfortunately, and fraud in their areas of work, and they want to. But given the level of danger that is posed to them, I mean, like you said, one only needs to look at accounts like Mosilo Motepu, Ethel Williams, and of course, the tragic death of Babita Deokaran. One of the recommendations, that you probably think that needs to obviously be looked at is, just reviewing various pieces of legislation that currently exist. What are some of the practical steps that you would want to see immediately happen? I know that the 5th installment and the recommendations is still yet to come out in June from the Zondo Commission report, but, just some of the practical examples that you would like to see, and maybe let's touch on the protection of whistleblowers and also just protecting their livelihoods.
So as the Active Citizen Movement, what we've done in this last 18 months, we've hosted quite a few webinars with experts, both locally and internationally, but also working with civil society organizations locally and internationally, as well as some of the Chapter 9 organizations and some of the government organizations. In all these discussions, what's very important is that the PDA does not offer total relief to the whistleblowers. If you look at one practical example, Ms. Martha Ngoy, who is the attorney from PRASA, who's currently going through disciplinary procedures at PRASA, even though she won a case at the Labour Court. So what we are looking at is the environment itself has to be conducive for citizens to feel comfortable that they can come out and report on wrongdoing. You might remember at the Human Rights Day address, President Ramaphosa called on all citizens to come forward and report on wrongdoing and report on corruption. Now, it's easier said than done because, as I've mentioned, in the last month, we've had an academic at Limpopo University being assassinated. In the last month again, we've had the Vice Chancellor and Deputy Vice Chancellor at Fort Hare University being shot at, presumably for uncovering corruption and maladministration. So the environment has to be conducive for colleagues to feel comfortable, and then also there has to be legislation that criminalizes wrongful and vexatious litigation from employers and from people in power that basically abuse their power because whistleblowers or colleagues have basically reported wrongdoing. And in this regards, part of the discussions we've been having recently, reaching out to the Department of Justice as well, is to see how to fast track it because, as I've indicated in the last few weeks, last few months, this has been going on. And we have to start from somewhere, and that is why there's a relief that the Zondo reports are coming through now, and the one final report, because we need to move towards fixing up the system that's been badly damaged. This 10-year state capture period has continued. We've seen during the PPE pandemic saga, and now even with the floods crisis, that citizens are saying they've had enough, and there's a huge distrust element. So while we have the laws, the gaps are there, and the whistleblowers have played a role in exposing all these gaps, and those are the gaps that we need to attend to now.
And unfortunately, those that still have not come out yet are living in fear and are afraid to come out, something that obviously needs to be addressed. Thank you so much for your time, Koogan Pillay from the Active Citizens Movement.